A once peaceful Nordic nation has become the gun murder capital of Europe. I'm talking about Sweden. Every year in Sweden, 4 in a million die in shootings. It doesn't sound like very much, 4 in a million people. But in the European context, it's extraordinary. Across Europe, this number is 1.6. In 2021, 45 people were killed by gunfire in Sweden. In 2022, it increased to a record 62. Now, experts say this year is set to be even worse. In fact, September has become the worst month on record with 11 deaths by shooting. Do you know what's behind this trend? Gang violence. Sweden has been rocked by infighting. What's worse, a successful police operation has made things worse. Now, Sweden's Prime Minister has turned to the army. He wants the troops to curb the gangs. Here's a report.
This week, Sweden met with a bloody 12-hour wake-up call. Late on Wednesday, an 18-year-old man was shot dead in Stockholm. Hours later, south of the capital in Jordbro, another man was killed in a shooting. Early on Thursday, a woman in her 20s died in an explosion in Uppsala, west of Stockholm. All 3 murders are unrelated, but they share one commonality. They were a result of gang violence. This Scandinavian nation is home to about 10 million people. It used to be a peaceful, inclusive society. But now, this country has become the gun murder capital of the world. Sweden is in the grip of a gun crime crisis. Many say deadly gang violence has turned the nation into a war zone. According to official government data, 4 in every million inhabitants die in shootings each year in Sweden. Much higher than the European average of 1.6. In 2021, 45 people were killed by gunfire. In 2022, the number increased to 62 out of 391 shootings that year. Now, just over 60 dead does not sound like a big number. Sweden's homicidal rate is 1/6 of that in the US. But in the European context, this is a shockingly high number. Stockholm's gun murder rate is 30 times higher than London's.
Sweden has never seen anything like it. No other country in Europe is experiencing anything like this.
September has become the worst month for shooting deaths in Sweden since records began in 2016. After the deaths this week, the total stands at 11. Sweden's Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson is in a bind. So now he is seeking help from the army. He summoned the head of the armed forces.
We will hunt the gangs and we will defeat them. We will take them to court. If they are Swedish citizens, they will be locked up for a long time in prison. And if they are foreign citizens, they will also be expelled.
The PM says he will push for more surveillance, harsher penalties, more stop and search zones, and stronger deportation powers. An official plan is yet to be chalked out. It is not clear how the military might get involved. The head of the army believes they will assist police officers. But some critics have described these measures as superficial. They say these steps will treat the symptoms, not the problem. Years ago, gangs used to be a small regional issue in Sweden. But now they have become a national plague. Why is that? There are a couple of reasons. Poor integration of immigrants, a widening gap between rich and poor, and drug use. But a bigger explanation, ironically, points to police action. A successful police operation, that too. In 2020, French police broke the codes of a criminal communications network. This enabled police all over Europe to track down criminals. Thousands of arrests were made. Over 400 criminals were arrested in Sweden, and sentences totaled over 1,500 years in prison. The leaders of Swedish gangs were cut off, but the result was unexpected. This left a power vacuum in the underworld. As a result, young gang members began vying for power. They began fighting for dominance in lucrative drug markets. Police say more and more children are contacting criminal gangs, offering to commit murders. Child gangsters are throwing hand grenades and blowing up bombs, trying to kill their rivals, while a growing number of bystanders become collateral damage.
More and more children and completely innocent people are affected by the serious violence. I cannot emphasize enough how serious the situation is.
The question really is, Can bringing in the army give Sweden an out? The country is hopeful, but skepticism is rife, since controlling Sweden's young gangsters is no child's play.